Fantastic. So firstly, could you just give us your full name and your job title, just so we have that on the record?
Okay, my name's Peter Richardson. I am a director of Seneca International Insurance Services, which is the company behind the brand SelfBuild Zone.
Excellent. So firstly, Peter, could you just take us through the statistics from West Yorkshire with regards to this story?
Well, as you know, there's a housing crisis across the UK. In West Yorkshire, the number of new households projected for the area for the next 10 years is around about 53,000 out of a total UK of 340,000 per year. So, what the developing companies, the major house builders are delivering is way short of that requirement. So there's a need to introduce more self-build to try and meet those needs.
And why do you think people choose to self-build in the first place then, Peter?
I'd start on this one by saying self-build doesn't necessarily mean you build it yourself. You could have a contractor or a number of contractors and tradesmen help you build it, and you just project manage. And it also doesn't mean you have to build a brand new house. You could decide to convert an existing building, an old barn, old church, school. You might want to extend your existing home, or you might want to renovate a derelict house. But what it is a chance for somebody to build their dream home to their own specification and to put their stamp on it. And some people just simply don't want to live in a house that's very similar to their neighbour's house next door and the house over the road.
So what do people need to know before they go about doing this, the self-building?
There's a number of things they need to consider. First of all, how are you going to finance it? Is that going to be financed through your own savings, or are you going to need a mortgage? Self-build mortgages are very different from a normal mortgage. So before you make a commitment to purchase anything, find out how much you can borrow and build in a contingency of about 20%. These types of mortgages are often released in stages, normally in arrears. So you also need to make sure you've got a significant pot of money available for you to start the build and to get to the first stage at which your lender is going to release the first tranche of funds to you. The next thing to think about is when you do complete on the purchase of the plot, you do become liable for people who might become injured, whether they should be on the plot or not. So you need to consider how you're going to protect yourself in such circumstances. So think about things like public liability insurance. Next thing to do, before you appoint a builder or a contractor, check them out. Have a look at their previous work, talk to their customers, get a feel for their reliability, the quality of the work, and so on. And very importantly, check what insurance they have in place. If they don't have the right policies, you will need to think about arranging your own. And if you're planning on having several contractors deliver your final project, you will definitely need your own policy, as no single contractor will take responsibility for the completed project. The other thing to think about is if you're building with a mortgage, is your lender is going to require you to have a structural warranty insurance in place for 10 years at the completion of the build. So arrange that before you start the work, because trying to get a policy at the end of the work can be significantly more expensive. But when you're looking at your warranty, check out the insurance company behind the warranty. Make sure they're a well-rated company. We would always say A-rated. We've had circumstances recently where some unrated insurers in this space have become insolvent, leaving their policyholders without a warranty, which means they're likely to be in breach of their mortgage conditions, and they need to go out and try and find another policy, which is going to cost them significantly more money to purchase. Finally, you don't have to use the local authority to do your building control. You can engage an independent approved inspector who can do that work for you. And especially if you're buying a warranty for the property, that approved inspector can also undertake the technical audits that your warranty provider is likely to require.
And is the government doing much to encourage this then, this self-build?
Yes, they are. In England, we now have the right to build legislation, which went live at the end of October 2016. This means that if you live in England, your local authority is now required to host a right to build register. This is a way for them to evidence how many people want to build or create their own homes in the region. The registers are paired with a duty for the council to supply sufficient plots for the people on their register, and these plots will come from either the local authority's own land banks or by the local authority encouraging local landowners to release plots for self-build projects. The legislation requires them to provide a minimum of 18,000 plots. So if your listeners are interested in registering with their local authority or in any other areas they want to consider living, they don't have to go to each local authority website to register. They can do it through one place, which is the Right to Build portal at www.righttobuildportal.co.uk.
And with this sort of thing, there may be some pitfalls that people may, come across when they're doing it. What are those issues that they may come across, and how can they go about avoiding them?
The biggest one that we see is the lack of contracts between the self-builder and their suppliers and their contractors. It's very important you have contracts in place so each side knows what they're expected to do. Without them, if you pay a window supplier a deposit for the windows, without a contract in place, they could run off with the money, and it's your word against theirs as to who was going to do what. The other reason for having contracts is that if there is a delay because one of your contractors has not performed their work in time, it could have a knock-on effect to the rest of your schedule, which could cost you more money. So it's a question of how you make sure that it's not you paying for those additional costs. The other one, I mentioned it earlier, is they simply run out of money. So that's why it's important to build a contingency into your funding of your project to make sure you don't end up not having enough money. The other thing is having enough time to project manage your build. Many people are busy with their working lives, and you need to have enough time to manage your project effectively and efficiently. And if that's not something you can do, you might want to consider looking at some custom build projects that are available. In Bicester, there's a Graven Hill project where these custom build sites might become more suitable for you, where somebody else can do that project management for you, but you can still create your own home in your style.
That's fantastic, Peter. Unless there's anything else you'd like to add at all, I think that'll do for us here.
No, I think that's fine for me.
Fantastic. Well, have a good weekend, and thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, where can listeners find out more?
Yeah, where can our listeners find out more?
Okay, the best place to go is to an organisation called NACSPA, which is the National Custom and Self-Build Association. They offer some great advice for self-builders, and they can also recommend the right publications to read to get the right guidance. And there are several dedicated self-build shows happening around the country throughout the year. Self-Build Zone will be at Excel for the London one on the 4th to the 6th of October, and we will also be at Harrogate at the beginning of November. So if anybody wants to come and have a chat with us there, please do.
Fantastic, Peter. Thank you very much.